Here we go, episode 113 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I'm Michael Merlo. That's John Michael Masiri. JM, all three major sports we are hitting today. Very excited for that. It's rivalry week, by the way, so I shouldn't even be talking to you at this point.
Don't even look at me.
Big game this weekend between the New York Jets and the New York Giants. First off, we're going to start in
the battle
for
MetLife. For Jet Life.
Well, you guys rent it.
Jet Life.
You guys rent out to us.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean that's like
because I'm sure in terms of like ticket sales and everything this year, I'm sure that you guys have been selling more tickets, right?
No, I'm saying like in general,
right
through the lease.
Typical
you guys
Giants fan going back to the history. No, I got it. All good, bro.
Right, like
you guys haven't been a joke since the boat picture, but it's all right.
Listen, it's little brother things. I get it. I'm little brother in another sport, so I understand what you're going through. But either way, lots to get to. We are going to start with baseball. First off, JM, how are you?
I'm doing great. It is literally the best couple of weeks here of the sports year calendar.
Yeah.
I mean, we have all four sports just going at one time right now, and that is a very rare thing. And just a little side note, NASCAR playoffs are going on right now. Huge. Going to the race this weekend in Virginia. Huge. Can't wait.
We actually have a half hour dedicated to that tonight.
Yes. Bonus NASCAR show coming up.
So,
not actually. He would kill me. But if I could do it, I would.
Right. No, we have a half hour completely dedicated to that after we do football to end everything off. You just got him doing NASCAR. You could see me getting up and leaving, but...
No fade? A little overdue for the cut here.
No, every 2 weeks.
Long.
Fridays every 2 weeks. So we'll be...
Whoa!
What?
You got like...
I was playing with it all day. Pause. It's just like it's not brushed. It's not taken care of whatsoever. So
kid's letting himself go now. He's not even grooming himself.
No, it's every 2 weeks I get a fade. Friday is 2 weeks. I'm going Friday.
Before we'll get to the sports in a second, but this is something where like I'll get crap from people about like, didn't you just get a haircut? When you get a fade as your haircut, you're on like a 2 week max timetable.
Yes.
And my hair grows like a weed, and I know yours does too.
Yeah.
So like, don't give me crap about getting a haircut. I get a haircut every week if I can. But maximum 2 weeks.
See, that's crazy. Every week is crazy. So for that, you do deserve crap.
Nah.
But every 2 weeks, like that's normal. Like a lot of people that do get this haircut, they go every 2 weeks, they go get a haircut. Not abnormal
Shout
at
out
all.
Neri. Shout out my barber.
Yeah.
The man.
I just went over 2 weeks last time because my barber was out of the country, and
maybe you should have flown with him.
I wish I did. And then it's like everybody's like, oh, just go to a new barber. Like, no, like when you find a guy and you trust him or gal, you find that person.
Yep.
You lose trust in everybody else. Now you're freaking out about the hair. It's just not a good situation.
Why is this thing doing this again?
What?
Get the remote.
Oh, please. Hopefully we don't have any, damage here done to any of our equipment. What remote?
Right there. So
I got to stand up?
Yeah, you got to stand up. I'll segue us into the Phillies here. So before Michael has his absolute pathetic Met fan freakouts now.
No, before we start, round of applause. What a season for the Philadelphia Phillies, guys.
Ridiculous. This is
it's just honest to God, like they did everything they could. They fought hard. Shout out Philadelphia. You guys, passionate, leaving in the eighth inning because you need to get some extra sleep for Game 7. I respect that.
There it is.
I respect that. You got to get ready for Game 7 because it's going to be so rowdy. The Diamondbacks aren't going to have a chance in Game 7, of course, right, JM?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. They got the snake bite. That's for sure. And I, for one, will say, like everybody else out there, I don't care if you're a Philly hater or not, I was shocked. I really thought going into that series, Phillies were going to win. I thought being up 3-2, going back to Philadelphia, they're going to close out the series. We talked about the home field advantage for them. We talked about how it's the greatest of all time. I think that number is probably back to not the greatest of all time.
The Mets might have it back.
2 losses. Yeah, the Mets, right? Because they're what are they, 4-1? Like they have 5 games.
No, Shea Stadium
or something like that. Oh, Shea Stadium. Right? Let's go to Shea Stadium. Right. The Mets said, guys, we have the best record ever. Tear the stadium down before it goes bad.
No, in the postseason, they had the best record home field advantage.
As soon as the number hit, they said, guys, take a freaking sledgehammer to everything, bulldoze the whole place, blow it up, so this record could stand forever.
Doesn't matter.
Diamondbacks Rangers is going to be, what, 5 million viewers a game. I mean, this is going to be not actually, but like it's going to be one of the more lower rated World Series in a while.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. You know, I got to apologize. I mean, I'm not as bad as Mad Dog, but I didn't threaten to retire over them winning. But I had a radio show Friday in which they were going back to Arizona down 2-0.
You called them a joke. You said, why I really have to watch the Diamondbacks?
I called them
baseball.
I called them a wet blanket. I called them bad for baseball. I called this the easiest matchup a team has ever had in the NLCS. I mean, every way I could disrespect the team, I did, and I was wrong.
I mean, it's not like you were coming out of left field with those takes. That was a lot of people, including myself, were agreeing on that the Diamondbacks probably got a lucky little win there with the Dodgers, got hot at the right time, and looking at this team, this isn't anything special.
No, they're not anything special, but they're a young team. They're an athletic team. They're good defensively. And like you mentioned, they got hot at the right time. You know what I find very interesting? We'll get back to the Philly hating in a minute. They did a lot of the little things, right, that we typically see in postseason baseball and not necessarily regular season baseball. They bunt guys over. You know, they're stealing a lot of bases.
Oh God, I'm sure the freaking old heads were like,
and the old heads
having a great time watching bunts. Oh, look at that bunt.
They're like,
why don't you just bunt?
They're like, yeah, and it's funny because I kind of tend to agree with them. It's like, this is the most important baseball, right? This is the toughest level of baseball. You're in the postseason. Right. This is as high as it gets, and yet you're going back to kind of an old form of baseball. Right. So it just truly shows you how the postseason and the regular season are two completely different seasons. Yep. You know, you have teams like the Diamondbacks that are able to advance and upset these teams. But I mean, JM, can you have how many of their stars, their three biggest stars, just completely falter when it mattered most, going back to Philadelphia? It's the most shocking thing.
I think that's what I wanted to praise the Diamondbacks for, was they have – you don't look at that lineup and you go, wow, look at this lineup, star-studded. Obviously, much respect to Corbin Carroll, already a top 25 player in baseball as a rookie. Fantastic player, probably better than that. You look at Christian Walker, has a great year, you know, just building year after year. Seems like he's getting better and better. Ketel Marte, I mean, did he win the MVP of the NLCS?
He won the MVP. Yeah. He's got the crazy hitting streak.
Great player, a guy I was dying for the Yankees to get him at the opportunity when he was in the trade rumors. So they have a good lineup, but the point I'm making here is 1 through 9, you look at that lineup and you go, wow, yeah, they got guys that could hit 1 through 9. Like, you don't really look at a player and you're like, nah, that guy sucks.
Right.
So that is something where the Phillies, where they lost their season with Yankee minor league legend Jake Cave at the plate, you're literally, if Bryce Harper and Trey Turner and these guys don't go crazy, you're relying on Johan Rojas, Jake Cave, you know, nothing super special there.
Brandon Marsh.
And that's where, no disrespect to Marsh, he had a good season.
No, he did.
He had a good season.
But
that's my point, is the Diamondbacks seem to just have every time there's a guy up at the plate, you're like, this guy could do damage, this guy could get a base hit a little blooper or something. This freaking TV is driving me insane. I'm about to unplug it out of the wall.
Do it.
The Phillies, though, little top heavy. I think that lineup where, you know, you're relying on Schwarber, you're relying on Harper, you're relying on Turner, and they're going crazy, hitting solo home runs, hitting 2-run home runs. But once those bats fizzle like they did in Game 7, who are you going to rely on? Jake Cave?
They're relying on that power, and it's not to say that power does not work in the postseason. You got to hit homers. I mean, we've seen teams mash their way to World Series and World Series titles. We almost saw the Phillies do it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, your lineup has to produce hits. You have to get rallies going. You have to move guys over. And when guys get on base and get in scoring position, you have to drive them in. How many times even Tuesday night did we see guy got on second because the Diamondbacks stole a base? They were extra aggressive late in this series, stealing bases. A guy gets in scoring position, and all of a sudden, little single right up the middle, not hard hit, single to right field, scores a run. And their speed absolutely killed them, because even though they have some pretty decent arms in that outfield, with Castellanos a couple of times, the Castellanos didn't matter. The speed they have on the base paths, mostly at all times, it's an advantage to the D-backs. They're able to score runs. Credit them. Their pitching stepped up big time too after just crapping the bed early on in this series.
And I think the biggest story for the Phillies in terms of, sure, Bryce Harper didn't show up in Game 7 and Trey Turner didn't play great, but the absolute just coma that Nick Castellanos' bat was in that series.
Yeah.
1 for 24.
Brutal.
1 for 24. And they were, he was getting criticized, Rob Thompson, for not. I remember talking to you on the phone the other day, and you were reading me the lineup, and you're like, Castellanos batting 7th. I'm like, really?
Well, the thing is, Castellanos was batting 7th and low in the lineup the entire postseason, at least to my recollection. And Bohm was hitting 4th behind Harper, the protection behind Harper. Yeah. And Bohm was not having a good postseason. He wasn't really great in the postseason last year. I think his numbers are he has like a 650 OPS or something like that in the postseason the last 2 years. Yeah. And I'm sitting there saying, why are they not moving Castellanos, who's hitting the ball pretty well, up before this series? Yeah. Why is at least Real Muto not hitting 4th or 5th, whatever they were? I think it was 3rd. So yeah, 4th. Mm-hmm. Why are we still hitting Bohm there? Yeah. Bohm ends up having a nice game 7, but it's not enough. Also, Thompson's getting criticized for going to Kimbrel, or, when they were in Arizona, and Kimbrel kills him in that game. What game did we watch together? That was the Friday night game. Yeah, that game 3 that they blew.
Yeah.
So, a couple of managing decisions, days ago, are getting criticized now.
Yeah, but you're talking about Craig Kimbrel. You're not bringing in some guy who's never done it before. Craig Kimbrel's got a great postseason resume. He's been, I think this series was the first save he ever blew in his postseason career. So. Going to Craig Kimbrel there, it's easy in hindsight to criticize him because it didn't work out. But
yeah, but he was also struggling before then.
And, we could analyze the series as much as we want, but I want to get to sort of the comedic side of this. The way that these fans just in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And I'm no Philly hater. He's the Philly hater. I'm the Boston hater. That's the way our sports teams line up. I hate the Red Sox and the Patriots and all those teams. He hates the Phillies and the Eagles and everybody like that. The way that this Philadelphia fan base just completely flips on this team. They're interviewing them after the game. They're like, sell the freaking team and get rid of this guy. I want Rob Thompson.
No, you got to do a better Philly accent.
All right, give me one. Oh, no. Go Birds. That's all I know. Go Birds.
No, I'm not
it's
saying
hard to
anything.
do without cursing.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything, so we can't clip anything, and I can't get criticized.
Yeah, no, you can't go angry Philly people in the comments.
In all seriousness, it's the greatest thing. I listen to 94 WIP all day today.
This is the funniest thing he does. Like it's genuine because it's hysterical because he genuinely does it for his own pleasure. Like he doesn't do it to just like make other people laugh. He literally, as soon as Marte hit that walk-off in game 3 or game 4, immediately takes out his phone, he pulls up the TuneIn app and Odyssey, whatever, and puts on the Philadelphia radio and is just sitting on the couch and laughing.
Yeah, with our friends. And I'm like, this is my entertainment.
They call in and, Yankee fans do it. Every fan base has their idiots, but they're like, Harper's freaking trash and this team's got no heart and blah, 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 blah. And
listen, again, I'll get killed from from all of our friends for saying this. They have passion. They have extreme passion for their teams. There's no denying that. They are true fanatics for their teams. But, yeah, they go over the deep end when things fail, when teams fail, just like we do to a point, but they are definitely on the extreme level.
I can't really nail that Philly accent. Some guys...
I saw
it's
something
like the Delco accent they call it. Go Birds.
Yeah, I saw something this morning when I woke up.
The Fightins. That's what they say. The Fightins.
What TikTok did you see this morning? Was it the guy with Kelly Green? Oh no, I didn't see that.
That was brutal.
I saw this guy on TikTok do. It's either an impression or he's from Philly. He had the Kelly Green jersey on, and the Kelly Green. I mean, you can't say anything bad about the Kelly Green. Even I hate the color green, and the Kelly Green jersey is truly beautiful. But
this one.
No, it's not that one. He was like doing like an impersonation in his kitchen. Yeah. But either way, it's just they're crazy, and that's the entertainment value. So yeah, I listen to 94 WIP all day today, all day. I'm in class, AirPod in. I don't care. AirPod in, radio on.
Real rebel.
It was great, but yeah.
Anyways,
now we'll move on to the American League very quickly. I mean, the series ended a few days ago in Game 7. Listen, the Rangers, give them credit. To think that both of these teams, the Diamondbacks and the Rangers, would go on the road, and it was a little bit more likely for the Rangers to do it because every team had won on the road in the ALCS. But still, to say they would go 4-0 and advance the World Series, especially with the way the Rangers are playing at home, It's truly shocking. Give them credit.
Yep.
They were able to go in there and silence the Astros.
And, I mean, what an absolute we've seen some really great series over the years out of players like Randy Arozarena having a great season, Corey Seager in the World Series. Adolis Garcia, like, I would make an argument that was better than anything I've ever seen because the clutch moments he came up in, and they showed a stat the other day. He's the first player in postseason history to go 3 straight games with a home run and 3 or more RBI in 3 consecutive games. Just absolutely insane. You felt like in Game 7, yeah, he hits that home run, but also what goes unnoticed, he got an RBI single. He went 3 for 3 or 4 for something. He had at least 3 hits. I remember that. I remember seeing he was 3 for 3 when he got up to the plate. So hats off to him. And I think one thing we've learned from this postseason out of all, and I think this postseason's a bit of an outlier. I think it's a little bit extreme of what we normally see, but say it every episode, baseball, whatever happens, it's just, there's a lot of randomness. The postseason's a completely different game, but this is literally like extreme outcome after extreme outcome.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it. 4 every single game, 7 games, the road team won in that series. You got the Diamondbacks in the freaking World Series. You got the Rangers in the World Series, a team that, as the season went on, we were expecting to make a lot of noise in the postseason. They
limped into the postseason.
But limped into the postseason coming in, we're not viewed as a World Series threat just yet. We knew about the payroll. We knew about the big names they signed, but we weren't sure about the productivity of some of these other guys like an Evan Carter. And we didn't know Corey Seager was going to basically be the MVP if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist. So hats off to them, and cry Astros cry is all I could say. I mean,
and just to look at the season as a whole, they lost to Grom. They trade for Scherzer. He sucks. So their pitching rotation, has
he does suck, but that's coming out of a very disturbed heart of yours right now.
He's a terrible pitcher at this point, a shell of himself, an embarrassment of what he used to be. I was serious.
No, I was just about to say, I think that if you recall, when Scherzer got traded to the Dodgers in 2021, he was experiencing what it looked like was a dead arm. Like he just pitched a lot of innings, and at this age and this point in his career, he kind of just limped towards the end of the season. He just wasn't really pitching great anymore, and he was down on velocity and down on movement. He kind of just got a dead arm. And it was a concern when he signed with the Mets where, they said, well, if he had that dead arm, then how's he going to last with the Mets and this and that? Had a great regular season with the Mets his first year, but dealt with some injury. So you got a little bit of rest time there with the arm. Then we know about his performance in the playoffs with the Mets. You're going to start twitching.
Embarrassing.
And then this year, dealing with some injuries, doesn't have the greatest regular season. Pitches bad in the playoffs. I really do think Max Scherzer is a no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the best pitchers we've seen in the 21st century. No doubt. I feel like this is kind of the end of the road for him.
Time to hang it up.
I don't know if it's time to hang it up. It depends on his standards. I'm sure he wants to go out there and prove it to himself and prove other people wrong. But I would definitely say that his best pitching days are behind him, and I could see even more of a decline in Max Scherzer's ERA being in the 4s next year if he does choose to pitch.
Yeah, time to leave. Luis Angel Acuna could literally be the Luis Guillorme of the Mets in 3 years. It was a good trade. That's how bad this guy's pitching right now. It doesn't matter. Literally, the standard for Luis Angel Acuna at this point, right now, not very high. And I think he's going to be a fine player. But, Christ, the standard's not high.
All right, so enough Max Scherzer slander.
Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Crazy.
Come on.
I mean, listen. Well, first let's introduce what's going on with Bruce Bochy. Bruce Bochy quite literally said, hey, Padres, hey, Nick Preller, or AJ Preller.
Oh, sorry, that's Bob Melvin.
What did I say?
I'm talking about Bruce Bochy.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry.
Being one of the greatest managers to ever live.
Yeah, never lost a Game 7.
Never lost a Game 7. And by the way,
I always get them confused. I've done that my whole life. I'm casual.
I placed a bet on the Astros to win with like a crazy parlay. But I placed a bet.
Mattress Mac over here.
Right, with the Astros to win the game on Monday night. And then like 20 minutes later, I find out Baker's never won a Game 7. Yeah. And Bochy's never lost one.
Hanging it up,
and
Dusty.
He's hanging it up. Exactly. Scherzer should follow in his footsteps.
Yep.
Shout out Dusty Baker as well. Yeah. Hell of a career.
Yeah.
The TV did it again.
Who are they going to... Who are they going to go with now? I heard that Carlos Beltran guy is available.
You know,
he's going to the Mets.
Again.
He's going to the Mets.
Again, you did this on the phone last week as if I wouldn't welcome Carlos Beltran becoming the manager of the Mets. I would love it.
Well, I would pray that he gets a manager job because that man deserves to never be in a broadcast booth again.
Yeah.
He was the worst broadcaster booth I've ever seen. Michael Kay talking, Carlos, that was a nice play by Aaron Judge there in right field. What'd you think about that? Well, as an outfielder, you gotta run under the ball and you gotta catch. You gotta make sure that you catch it in your glove, Michael. Thanks, Carlos.
Speaking of former Yankee and broadcasters, I haven't watched much of the pregame show on Fox. I heard Jeter's like just boring as hell.
Oh yeah,
Jeter's not good. I don't know.
When I heard that Derek Jeter was gonna be like on broadcasting, I was like, really? Like, he's always been Mr. Always says the right thing and doesn't.
I'm staying away from baseball.
Exactly, and doesn't want to make. And that seems like. Now, I think that's like when he was having kids and stuff like that, and he was trying to just get a little break from the game. I feel like now he's got this new persona about him that he's trying to get back into the game, and he came to Old Timers Day, and he's been making more appearances with the Yankees and on TV and all that stuff. But he's never been a super personable guy, Derek Jeter. We know this. We know he's never been Mr. Personality.
It's great. You would think like A-Rod or Burkhardt's great or Ortiz and whatever else they got on the pregame now would bring the personality out. And it's like,
it is genuine when he does that stuff where he gets pissed when you bring up the 3-0 lone lead. Like, he's being genuine there, but the whole thing that he did where he want to put the cowboy hat on. He's like, the New Yorkers don't wear this stuff. Like, all right, bro. Like, let's
chill.
Relax, tough guy, being a little corny.
But that's that's always an entertaining pre and post game. Those guys, they're really funny. But yeah, and now we've got this D-backs Rangers World Series.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say like let's make some predictions, but my knowledge, my prediction, forecasting, whatever you want to say, out the window with this playoffs. Like if the freaking A's were in the World Series right now, if you just slip them in instead of the Diamondbacks, I'd say I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, my instinct would obviously tell me Rangers, so I'll go D-backs, so then just fade that and just go back Rangers. So, like, I'll finally
play right there.
I'll finally pick the D-backs.
You're beating the system,
and then I'll be like, you know what, go Rangers.
I really do think if I could put any sort of analysis on this, but despite the crazy randomness, I think that Diamondbacks offense is a little too much for this Phillies. But they're too hot right now. They've been great all season. The Phillies lineup was tough, and we knew the reason why we thought the Phillies were going to win was the same reason. We thought the offense was too much. Rangers lineup is better than the Astros. It's got more depth. They've been doing it consistently for a while now. I would take the Rangers. They have the home field advantage, which also seems to not freaking matter anymore.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, I mean, by the way, I want to look at the ticket prices of this game. Not that I'm going, but compared to other World Series, I would imagine that these ticket prices are a little cheaper. I feel like
they could be.
This isn't Dodgers Astros.
No, they could be. Listen, MLB's not happy, right? No. MLB's definitely not happy.
What are they going to do? Make best of 20 playoff series?
I forget who said this though. And it's true. It's like, stop trying to predict ratings like before it happens. Like, you never know. Like, it's a fun series. Like, I can understand that. But at the end of the day, you do want the big blue bloods in there. Yeah. That's what Major League Baseball wants. But either way, that's our baseball analysis at this point.
Bob Melvin.
Oh, yeah.
Don't embarrass me.
Crazy.
So, Bob Melvin just hired by the San Francisco Giants as their next manager. And, yeah, he was the Padres manager this year, and he apparently hates AJ Preller, the GM of the Padres, and quite literally walked into the office and said, the Giants want to interview me. I don't want to be a manager anymore. Let them interview me. TV made a noise. And got interviewed by the Giants. They granted the permission. Ends up, they hire him, and apparently this quote came out today that he said himself, anytime he goes to play the Giants, he's like, I wish I was their manager. So, astronomical meat riding by Bob Melvin on the San Francisco Giants. I mean, doing cartwheels on it.
But let's look at it for a second. Decent organization, okay? Championship expectations.
Good organization.
Okay, fine. Good organization. pretty well run to this point.
Right. Wilmer Flores.
They have Wilmer Flores and Michael Conforto and J.D. Davis. Okay, so just stop it right there. No, great ballpark, great uniforms, great fan base. Like, it is a place that I think people want to go. Baseball people would want to go to. Nice weather. So,
but San Diego's got the best weather, so that doesn't count actually.
And at least you could say kind of the same things though. Nice ballpark, nice weather. Maybe not the same organizational stability, but still. It's a better organization. Yeah. Preller and him did not get along. It's shocking to me. We spoke about this, how Preller still has a job at this point with all the moves he's made.
He's quite literally playing MLB The Show and just,
Right. He's had so many chances at this, and he's going to hire another manager now.
And he's probably going to trade. I mean, is he going to trade Soto?
He's going to I think at this point. The Yankees are talking to the Padres now. Yeah. I think a lot of other teams are going to be talking to the Padres about him at this point. Yep. They're going to lose Snell. I'm shocked he has a job.
Big downgrade for the Giants, manager-wise, in terms of handsomeness.
Oh, wow. That's aggressive.
Gabe Kapler, very handsome guy.
By the way, Gabe Kapler, I told you this last week, that Gabe Kapler interviewed for the top job in the Red Sox organization. They just hired Craig Breslow or whatever his name is, something like that, the Red Sox.
Desperate organization, the Red Sox. Kim NG, I don't even know how to say her last name.
Ing or something like that.
Former, what was her title? She wasn't GM, she was president of baseball operations.
No, she was general manager.
Okay, well, yeah. They always mess up the language with that stuff. I don't get it. Just say GM or whatever. She left the Marlins, and the Red Sox were like, hey, let's interview you for our position. And she was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm good.
Well, it's unfortunate because she did a great job at the Marlins this year. She's been doing a good job at the Marlins, and they wanted to hire a president of baseball operations above her. It's like, what are you doing? No. Like, this woman just ran the organization. She's doing a good job. You're not to the point where you're competing yet and spending money.
Very
you don't spend money.
They were an overachieving team this year, and very weird.
I would have loved for the Mets to hire her, but, again, you have a president. So why would she go and be number 2 when she was just number 1? It doesn't make sense.
No, you should get this guy who used to own a team. His name's Fred Wilpon.
Okay.
I think he's looking for a GM job.
That's it for baseball. The Mets request permission, interview counsel. We'll get to that when that happens because I'm actually not as high on this anymore. But we'll talk about that at a later date. We are going to move on to the NBA, though, here as the season started. What was that, Tuesday night? And I was, listening to, I guess it was the pregame host for ESPN. I was watching PTI, and they went right into the pregame for the Knicks-Celtics game tonight. And I don't know who it was. The girl says, in a wide open NBA this year, anybody can win the championship. And I'm like, I'm looking at the odds last night to win the NBA championship. And I got 4 teams under 600. Like, what do we mean wide open?
Wide open NBA. I mean, listen, the NBA is, I think for the past 3 years, is in its prime of multiple teams that can win the championship compared to what we saw in the past in the Warriors and Cavs era and the Miami Heat and the Spurs and all those teams. You have teams like the Bucks, like the Celtics, like the Suns, the Nuggets, the Warriors. The list goes on and on and on about these teams you could all see realistically winning a championship. That doesn't mean it's wide open. You have your teams that are elite. It's not like you're looking around and you're like, everybody's just kind of good. There's no real elite teams out there. This could be anybody's race. That's not the case at all.
I got 4 teams under 600 right now. I got the Celtics at plus 370. I got the Bucks at plus 410. I got the Nuggets, and I got the Suns at plus 550. Yeah. And then the next team's the Lakers, and they're plus 1,300. And the Warriors are plus 1,400. And then the next team's the Cavs at 2,400. So it's like...
They got the... Wow. What? The Pelicans with higher odds than the Knicks, man.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, a potential star that, the day the season starts, there's this rumor that the Knicks have a trade offer for Embiid. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the games that happened, though. And we'll talk about the next game that just ended 20 minutes ago in a few. We'll start off with opening night, though. The Lakers lose to the Nuggets, who, like you just said, are still very good. Pretty good basketball team over there in Denver. But kind of, a little weird that LeBron's only be playing 28 to 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Do you buy this? I probably don't buy it. I don't
buy it. I could see in the beginning quite possibly doing it, and maybe they ramp it up in the in-season tournament and stuff like that. We'll see. But I can't really see him for the remainder of the season doing this night after night.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be very concerning, just wouldn't make sense. Yeah. Again, you want to ramp him, you want to ramp the season up, that's fine. You want to keep him fresh. You want to sit him out a few games. I hate oh my God, what's the
load management?
Why couldn't I just think of that?
Yeah.
I hate load management.
They just made agreed on some rules that's going to help with the load management.
But there are some guys, like in their case, and I'm not just making excuses for LeBron here, like it would make sense for a guy like LeBron, for a guy like Anthony Davis, who's made of glass, to sit him here and there.
I believe he's the oldest player in the league now, LeBron.
Is he really? 39 years old?
He's actually the oldest player in the league.
40. What is he, 40 or 39?
But he's not in his 40s yet. He's 38 or 39. They say, hey, we're going to play LeBron 28 to 30 minutes. You really think if the Lakers are, we expect them to be competing this year for quite possibly a championship. I mean, they made it to the West Conference Finals last year. You really think they're going to be playing him 28 minutes down the stretch of the regular season? No way. So for now, sure. Post All-Star break, then we'll see if they really stick to their word there.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis was terrible in the second half last night in that game, Tuesday night. In that game, cost them. They lose by 11. JM,
Yes.
You're a fan of Nikola Jokic.
I am a fan of Nikola Jokic. Yeah.
You're a fan of these
not too much personally. I think this whole thing that he, it's funny, but, the thing that, he doesn't really care about winning and stuff like that.
He hates America.
He hates being in the NBA, it seems like. I'm not crazy about, but as a player, yes, big fan.
I hate that. I can't. I'm not a fan of his just because of that. Yeah. But they get the win. Not surprising last night. What'd you think?
He's unguardable. There's no surprise by me saying that the multiple-time MVP and the finals winner last year, Nikola Jokic, he really is just incredible. I heard Alan Hahn say it, and he's right on the money. You have a player like Nikola Jokic, and you'll say, maybe this guy could be the next Nikola, or we have a guy on our team who's an MVP-type player, and he's comparable to Jokic. Yeah, sure, maybe he's comparable in the level of player that he is, but in terms of the way Nikola Jokic plays the game, the reason why he's so good is there's nobody else like him. You just brought up Anthony Davis. He's guarding Nikola Jokic, and this happened last year in the Western Conference Finals. You have Jokic backing him down in the post, and it looks like Davis is holding his own. He's a strong guy, known for his defense, obviously. And Jokic just seems to, no matter what the contest is, no matter if you get a hand on the ball, even sometimes, he still puts in the freaking basket. It's just, he's an incredible player, and he makes it look so easy. Looks like he's not even trying out there. He doesn't play a sexy style of basketball. You don't see him like a Steph Curry and a LeBron and like a Luka. You don't really see him making these incredible athletic plays. I mean, somebody said something I saw a TikTok where they're like, I can't envision Nikola Jokic dunking. And it made me laugh. And I'm like, that's kind of true. When you look at all of his dunks, it's a lot of just, two-handers off 2 feet. Nothing. He's not running down the court in transition much and throwing down these athletic-looking dunks. But
he's the most boring, unathletic, looks untalented, but so great,
fantastic
player. Yeah, yep. I mean, that's what he looks like. Jamal Murray had a nice game. And I was listening to Mike Malone before the game last night, or after the game. He had mentioned, Jamal Murray's had these great postseason runs. The bubble last season, he averaged over 26 points in the postseason, and he said, I want to see this guy put it together. I want to see this guy have an all-NBA type season and, average, over 24, 25 points and really put it together and, just prove himself more in the regular season.
Right.
And if he does that, man, because they lost a lot of guys from off this bench, a lot of veterans off this bench. They're younger now over there. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. The Lakers, I mean, this is a deep team, right? You think you look at the Lakers, they're a deep team. They added depth this offseason. I think that's why so many people like them. They retained Austin Reeves, gave him a big-time contract. So
Christian Wood, you bring Gabe Vincent over.
Right.
That's big. So
Hachimura comes back.
Yeah. They're a great team, and I think, we're reacting off of one game here. We're not going to overreact too much.
It's overreaction Wednesday.
It's overreaction Wednesday. I think the Lakers are going to be in it till the end. I think that last year, that deadline for them is, across all sports, one of those deadlines where it's going to go down in history as one of the greatest deadlines for a team, because not only did they add players, but the way they shook up their roster allowed guys like Austin Reeves to come up and take on a bigger role. And all of a sudden, we're like, whoa, Austin Reeves is a freaking good player. Like, where did this come from? And, cough, cough, the Russell Westbrook effect. Mr. Stat Sheet stuffer goes over, leaves, and all that.
He was decent over there with the Clippers.
Were they winning? Or were the Clippers winning?
No, but it wasn't his fault.
No, he's past the point in his career now where we're asking him to, take on a gigantic role for a team. By the way, Clippers, can that team get any older? They're rumored to want Harden.
Let's bring him in there.
Just keep getting, why not? Go to the nursing home, go pick up a couple players.
Jesus Christ.
But I think the Lakers are going to be just fine, and we'll head over to the other Western Conference game because these are probably going to be the top 4 teams in the Western Conference. I could see a team like maybe the Timberwolves taking a step up this year. I could see the Kings maybe being good again, and we'll see how the Pelicans do. We'll see how the Grizzlies play without John Morant, but West is stacked, but I see these 4 teams as the top 4 teams in the Western Conference.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this box score right here. 32 points, Booker last night. He kind of took over the scoring. I can't believe that was Durant's first game back there. Yeah. How is that Durant's first game back there?
Oh, you're talking about at home? Oh, back at Golden State.
Yeah.
He also had never played LeBron since 2018 when they matched up in the preseason.
Are you serious?
They're like, this is LeBron and Kevin Durant's first time meeting in a game since 2018.
Well, hopefully, they should be meeting a lot more.
Listen, he was injured. He goes over to the Eastern Conference. Yeah. He missed a whole year with a torn Achilles. Like, makes sense.
Yeah. This team, when they made these trades, especially last season, they had no bench. Right? I think that was the biggest concern. They had Beal, and they trade away Ayton. They kind of got a decent bench here, the Suns. I think that was the biggest thing. Ayton, Ayton wasn't their favorite. They didn't think he was, good enough defensively around the rim. They make the trade. They get rid of him. Excuse me. I like the way they built this team. I like the bench that they have now, and I think they are more. I think they're a better team than they were when they made the Durant trade last year.
Well, it's encouraging to know that you beat this Warriors team without Bradley Beal, your biggest, offseason acquisition. So that's a great start for them. And I agree. I think getting Grayson Allen in that deal with Ayton, that was a big get for them. I think, as much as he's a hated player, there's no doubt that Grayson Allen is a wonderful piece to have on your bench. And how about Eric Gordon? I saw him running out there on the court. I'm like, Eric Gordon's still chugging in the league, man.
I said the same thing last night.
Yuta Watanabe is playing, he's a solid bench piece there. So I'm not too worried about that bench. And I think the Suns team is going to be great. And I think one thing that we learned in that game against Warriors is this is still Devin Booker's team. You could put as many stars as you want on that team. Kevin Durant, there's going to be games where he's taking over and he's that guy. And then Bradley Beal once in a while, less than probably the least amount of times out of the 3, he's going to have his games where he looks like he's their guy. But at the end of the day, Devin Booker's been here his whole career. He seems to be getting better and better every year. He's if he plays like he did last night, he's going to cement himself as a top 10 player in the NBA. He's already top 20 for sure. So they're scary, man. They got a lot of options to score the basketball.
Sacramento Kings star De'Aaron Fox is signing an endorsement deal with the Curry brand. Wow. He's becoming the first NBA player to sign with Stephen Curry.
Meat riding.
That's pretty interesting there. And speaking of Stephen Curry, no Draymond Green from last night. A little weird seeing Chris Paul out there playing for Golden State. Got 34 minutes. For
sure.
That's definitely interesting. But
yeah, another great team in the Warriors. They fizzled out in the playoffs last year, lost to the Lakers, but had a really good series against the playoffs last year was really fantastic for the NBA, but a great series against the Kings. And I'm doubting them a little bit this year. I'm not crazy high on the Warriors, but I see the roster. Never, you scratch out the ages of all these guys. You just look at the talent. You say, yeah, this is a really good team at the points they are in their careers. Counting that in, they're still a fantastic team. Wiggins has been a great acquisition for them. He just seems to be that reliable guy for them. The cum bucket, Jonathan Kuminga.
What?
Yeah, cum bucket. Shout out cum bucket. Good bench player for them. So
It's becoming a PG rated R show. This is wild.
There's not too much analysis we can get into after out of one game. We knew how these teams stood coming in, and we're just gonna have to see how everything shakes out.
Before late Saturday night into Sunday morning, I guess the NFL sources love to just feed these insiders all these stories.
Yeah.
And when you wake up Sunday, you get all these stories. And it was funny, before the game started on Tuesday, earlier in the day, there's this report that Klay Thompson and the Warriors aren't close on an extension, and that, he's probably going to hit free agency.
Right.
I don't know why. It's very interesting to me that, listen, he's dealt with a lot of injuries, not the same player, but if he hit the market, what kind of contract? Is he getting a max contract from somebody for 2-3 years, whatever it is?
Well, the thing is, he's 33 years old. Which isn't crazy old. Like, you look at the Celtics just acquired Drew Holiday, looked at as a great acquisition for them. He's at least 33 years old. I gotta look up his age. I think he's 34, Drew Holiday. So
I can look it up.
He's got a lot of mileage on him. He's played a lot of basketball. He's had some injuries, but I think he gets a max. I mean, if you got guys like what's his face? Didn't he get a max? Fred VanVleet. If he could if Fred VanVleet could get a max,
he got a lot.
Klay Thompson could get a max.
He got a lot.
So we'll see. I mean, they have Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. I think are the three longest tenured players on their team across the NBA. Either the three, longest, or 3 out of 5 longest, or something like that. But they are definitely up there. I mean, I'll use the Knicks as an example. Mitchell Robinson is the longest tenured Knick,
right? And
he's been there for 6 years. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, they've been there for freaking 12 or 13, whatever the number is, crazy long. So pause. So yeah, what you got there?
Yeah, $42 million a year.
Yeah, Fred VanVleet. What the hell is that?
That's whack. All right, speaking of your Knicks. Our Knicks. I'm gonna.
No.
I'm choosing.
No.
I'm going to.
You don't get to pick a new team every year.
I didn't have a new team last year. I was just like a free agent.
Okay, let's go over. Okay, I should actually just read every team in the NBA, and you'll say if you were ever a fan of them at a point.
Supporter.
But you've been a fan of the Nets.
The Knicks.
Which would automatically disqualify you from being a Knicks fan. You're
right.
a fan of freaking Nets. The Nets.
I can always go back. They're very welcoming. They always call me. They're like,
Knicks,
you want to come back?
The Lakers,
Cavs,
the Cavs, with the LeBron following there. Anyone else?
Pelicans for a little bit.
Right, you're a little Pelicans fan. No Warriors and Heat ever?
No Heat. Hornets.
Oh, that's odd. Love me some Hornets. But where the hell did that get thrown into the mix?
I don't remember.
Okay, Hornets fan. Anything else?
I think
What's
that's
it. 7? Is that 6 or 7?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I'm coming back home. Yeah. I'm coming back to the original.
Oh yeah. Play the Carmelo Anthony intro. He's the play. I'm coming home. He's here.
In all seriousness, I used to be like a big Knicks fan. Like when I was a kid, like I remember like core memories of
before
sitting
your balls
there.
dropped. You were freaking
right.
Knicks
like
fan,
I was watching the Knicks. I was following the Knicks big time. So I'm coming back. I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I might as well just grab my Melo jersey. I still have a Melo jersey. I might as well.
Still fit?
I think it does actually.
No way.
I think it does.
When did you get that Melo?
I don't know. We bought it like off clearance. He might have been gone already. It was like $10. I was like, you know what? Yeah, this could be useful. Yeah. But either way, the Knicks lose.
Use this as a sweat towel.
Literally. Actually, probably was. Or I gave it to Dennis. One or the other. But either way, the Knicks lose Wednesday night. Their opener.
It's first, let's talk about the Celtics. Scary lineup for sure. And Kristaps Porzingis, I'm yelling at the TV the whole time because he is. Doc Rivers was saying it on the broadcast, and he's right. Raspy voice, Doc Rivers.
Terrible, bro.
Kristaps Porzingis is a matchup nightmare because you have Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson guarding the guy, but he doesn't play like a true center. He's really a 7'2" or whatever power forward. So he's out there playing at the wing, playing in the corner, and he's pulling up from like 30 feet basically and hitting these 3-pointers. So he stretches the floor as a big man. You got to account for him at the perimeter. You have these big clunky centers guarding him. It's not going to fare well for you. And he's also catching passes and shooting off of screens as a big man. So they did a really good job game planning and getting Kristaps Porzingis the ball. Jaylen Brown had a quiet night. They didn't really need much out of him, and that's the luxury of having 4 stars in Porzingis, Holiday, Tatum, and Brown on your team, where you don't need everybody to be great at the same time. So it's a really, really good lineup for the Celtics. I'm still a little concerned about that bench. That's the big thing, is how's that bench going to fare up? They played solid against the Knicks, but a lot of runs, a lot of back and forth in that game, and Knicks ended up, I think they played C basketball. Jalen Brunson was not good at all. Julius Randle couldn't hit freaking free throws.
The whole team couldn't hit free throws.
Not making free throws at all. So I said it to you right before we hit record. I said, I don't know how to feel about this because they lost, which isn't good, but they almost beat the Celtics, which is good, but they didn't play great, which isn't good. But at the same time, they didn't play great and almost beat the Celtics.
Tatum is absolutely fantastic.
Without playing great.
Tatum's fantastic. He scores 34 tonight. Yeah. You mentioned it before. Holiday's a great player. Older, by the way, he's 33 or a year off. Yep. He's just a fantastic player. This team is scary. They're the preseason favorite. Tatum had a lot of love for MVP this year. This was finally going to be the year that he does it. Yeah.
Rightfully so, though. Why they're the favorite is offense and defense.
Yeah.
You have a lot of two-way stars on that team. Tatum, Brown, Holiday, right there alone. Two-way stars.
Fantastic.
Great defenders.
Yeah, great defenders. And it begs the question because it's game 1 and a trade's not going to happen. And, like the Knicks, they don't have that guy that the Celtics do or other teams do, where it's like they don't have that superstar. And I love how yesterday on Tuesday morning, that there are these rumors that the Knicks have a package ready to go to send over to the 76ers if Joel Embiid ever became, seriously available. I've read that it's Leon Rose's, mission that if he becomes available, that's the star he wants to get. Yeah. And Randall would be in the deal. Barrett would be in the deal. And it's interesting to me. Like, can this team win a championship in this NBA? Because like we mentioned at the top, there's a lot of top-heavy teams, a lot of really good teams, close to super teams. Yeah. Are they capable of competing and getting to, just getting to a championship with this roster compared to the other teams?
Well, I think that's something that the Knicks have an advantage of is they have a lot of depth. They have players returning, right? This isn't a new team. These are 10 of their 11 top scorers are back together.
Right.
Like this is the same exact starting lineup they had last year. And I think they have guys that are going to take steps forward this year. I think you're going to see a step forward out of Quentin Grimes. I think Emmanuel Quickley is going to continue to get better, maybe even force him way into the starting lineup somehow. I know you're not going to bench Brunson, obviously, but maybe they bench Grimes. But I think those two guys are going to have great years, and they both were the stars of the game, honestly, against the Celtics. So they have the depth, but as much as I love Jalen Brunson and as much as I love Julius Randle, even though Julius Randle can't freaking perform in the playoffs, they're not superstars. Jalen Brunson has been an overperformer for his contract. He's been an absolute steal for the Knicks. I think he's going to get better possibly, but Jalen Brunson is not a top 10 player in the NBA, and that's just the way it is. And I think we throw around the term superstar a little too loosely in the NBA because you can't have 30 superstars in the league. Superstars are your elite MVP players like your Jokic, Doncic, LeBron still is a superstar. Steph Curry, the list goes on and on and on. Jason Tatum is a superstar. You play the Celtics, the number one guy you think about is Jason Tatum. You're not even saying how can we stop him. You're saying how can Jason Tatum not kill us?
Right.
Like how can we just contain Jason Tatum and not let him drop 40 on us? Embiid's not happening. It's not happening. I mean, throw it out the window. It's not happening
this year.
And why would you? Why do you want to do it though? I don't even think after this year. I really would. If you're talking about if I'm the Sixers. You want Embiid? Give me Emmanuel Quickley, give me Julius Randle, give me multiple first-round picks, and give me Mitchell Robinson because I need a center now.
What was the offer?
You're trading
Grimes,
all
Barrett,
of that.
and Randle.
That's a lot. Now you're talking about a starting lineup of that's 3 starters. You're losing right there. So you're going from that to, let's say they trade Quickley instead of Grimes because I think they asked for Quickley. I think it makes more sense, the him and Maxey connection. And,
okay.
You have a lineup of the Brunson, Grimes, you lost Barrett, you lost Randall. So now what? You bump Josh Hart up into the lineup. I guess your Embiid's your center now. I don't know who you're starting at the 4 at this point. So you kind of just lost. Like you get Joel Embiid, but guess what? Knicks fans, we complain about Julius Randle not being a great player in the playoffs. Let me introduce you to Joel Embiid.
Let's go get superstars.
Underperformer in the playoffs.
Let's get superstars.
But
let's bring them to New York.
But he's an underperformer in the playoffs. The guy who makes sense, the guy that should be here, it's freaking writing on the wall. It's all over the place, and it's inevitable to happen. Donovan Mitchell should be a Knick. It's going to happen eventually. Hopefully it happens while this team is still in their great championship window, and obviously he puts them in a championship window. But Donovan Mitchell should be a Knick. I mean, that's the guy. Donovan Mitchell is I would call Donovan Mitchell a superstar. And Jalen Brunson could ascend into superstar status. He's not there yet. I know I'm as much as I want to be biased about the guy, I can't give it to him yet. He's not a superstar. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. Get Donovan Mitchell.
What was the trade? What would a trade have looked like with the Jazz? Quickly, Barrett.
Well, I'm trying to remember what the Jazz got in return. I think that was the same trade as Markkanen and Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
Or those might have been two separate trades. No, they had the Rudy Gobert trade to the Timberwolves. I don't remember if that was a 3-team deal. I mean, my head's spinning now. But going back to overall how this Knicks team is going to win, you need a superstar. And look at the Heat, man. They had Jimmy Butler last year, and they have depth.
The Knicks balked on including Quentin Grimes in a trade with R.J. Barrett to acquire Mitchell. When Emmanuel Quigley was proposed as a replacement for Grimes in the trade, Utah wanted 3 unprotected first-round picks as part of the package, but New York would only do a third first-round pick that included top 5 protection, sources said. That was, years ago.
The thing I will say, though, I'm saying that the Knicks need a superstar. And I'm saying it would be great if they got Donovan Mitchell. It's not going to happen this year. The Cavs have championship aspirations of their own.
Aren't they going to have championship aspirations for the duration of his contract?
Most likely. But
so then why would we even sit here and consider Mitchell's
hello, let me introduce you to the NBA. You say, I want to get traded, and you get traded.
Yeah.
What I would say, though, is if Jalen Brunson ascends into superstar status this year, if he takes a step forward, then it's on. Then you have the depth, you have good role players, you have good defenders, you have a good bench. Then it's on. In a stacked NBA right now, which is not wide open, you have a chance.
Donovan Mitchell only wants to be here so he can be closer to Citi Field. Let's just actually put that out there. All right, enough NBA here. Let's move on to the NFL because JM, it is rivalry week. But first, let's start with the San Francisco 49ers, who get upset on Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. Yep. And that was a crazy, wild game, which I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about in the gambling show this week because we got a little interest in that team and that game. That's just a little spoiler. Okay. But the 49ers, they lose, and they lose Purdy, who looks like he's on concussion protocol, and he's probably going to miss this week's game, and that means your boy Sam Darnold back. You say that sarcastically. I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. I can't wait.
No, I actually am excited to watch him play, and I actually think he's going to play well.
So
I think his game is tailored for this system.
You know what's funny? The spread was 5.5. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know what the spread is now?
No.
Can you guess? The spread was 5.5 points with Purdy. They're playing at home against the Bengals this week. It was 5.5 with Purdy. What is it now?
3.5.
Okay, it's 3.5. All right, so you got it. So is that surprising or is that not surprising?
It's not surprising. What, you thought that you want them to make it more? You want 7.5?
I got a couple of stats here for you.
Okay.
Do you know how many points they say Patrick Mahomes is worth?
Oh, this is tough. 5.5.
7.5 points.
Jesus Christ.
Hurts is worth 6.5. Allen's worth 6.5. Burrow's worth 6.5. Rodgers is worth 6.5. Herbert is worth 5.5. Lawrence is worth 5. Tua 5. Dak 4.5. And this one's kind of shocking. Deshaun Watson 4.5. This was before the season, though.
Stupid TV. What, like
Really
plus
early.
4.5?
No.
Like you give the other team.
Yeah, no.
Right.
That's the impact. They're saying Purdy here, 2 points. You know, it's interesting. I feel like everybody wants to be right on Purdy. Everybody wants to say this kid's a bust. I'm not there yet. We're way too week to week in the NFL here.
Yep.
The 49ers they're just going to be fine. It's going to be good.
Let's rationally discuss how Brock Purdy played the other day. He didn't have a good game, but no Debo, and the biggest thing, no Trent Williams. Like,
Correct.
That offensive line was getting we say it all the time. Outside of Trent Williams, not a good offensive line.
Right.
Like it really isn't that great of an offensive line. But Trent Williams plays the most important position on the offensive line, and he happens to be maybe the best to ever do it at that position.
They do a good job of scheming around it, too.
They do. Didn't play well, and that's why I keep saying, I'm not going to say I'm right or I'm wrong, but I keep saying week after week, I'm waiting to give my verdict on Brock Purdy until he's in a high-pressure scenario where maybe he doesn't just have not all day, but where he doesn't have play after play to keep doing the West Coast and hitting the open guy and this and that, and needs to make some plays on his own in some big moments. Let's see if he could do that and elevate his team. I'm waiting to see that in a big spot.
Now, this is from Kay Adams.
Oh, let's go. Love her.
Yeah. She says, and I gotta see this elsewhere. Before his concussion, he was 19 of 24 for 252 passing yards, a touchdown, no picks, and a 124 passer rating. After that, he was 2 of 6, 24 yards through 2 picks. And it was pretty clear, I'm pretty sure, when he suffered the concussion. There was a play. I'm blanking on what the actual play was, but it kind of explains the bad throws, the bad mistakes he made late in that game.
Right.
But either way, I think we're just jumping to conclusions.
This is very similar to the Kenny Pickett scenario from the game against the 49ers. If you remember, in week 1, he got a concussion in the middle of the game, and it came out after that he was concussed, and they said, well, he threw 2 picks when he was concussed.
Right.
Not to compare the both of them.
Was this early in the year?
Yeah, game 1.
Right. Okay.
Week
I'm
1.
trying to think of last year. I'm like, when did they play last year? No. Yeah, it's definitely could have affected that. It probably did affect that.
Yeah.
But either way, you mentioned it before. You take this guy's arguably his best weapon away, especially receiving weapon in Debo. Yeah. You take away a left tackle who was the best left tackle in the league. Yeah. Like, the guy's play is going to suffer a little bit. Yeah. And yet they still have a chance to win this game. A couple of freaky things happen, especially that play to your boy Jordan Addison, where he just rips the ball out of the defender's hand. They score a touchdown before the half. So it's just a lot of crazy things. And if it turns the other way, they win this game. Yeah. With injuries, in a desperate spot for the Minnesota Vikings at home in prime time. And that we would say that that's a nice win.
Yeah. Well, the good thing for the 49ers is this is a moment in the NFL season where a lot of teams are experiencing what they're experiencing. I mean, the Eagles lost to the Jets in week 6. The Bills just lost to the Patriots. The Lions just went into Baltimore and got absolutely steamrolled. So, take it easy, Mr. Pat on the back. So the good thing is it's not the end of the world. We released our power rankings today, but really yesterday when everybody's listening to this. And me and you both had them 3rd in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, and so
it's week to week. Everybody wants to count them out. Everybody wants to say Purdy's a bust.
Exactly. Everybody wants to play Monday morning quarterback and just, freaking rip on everybody and say this guy's a bust. They're overrated, blah, blah, blah.
Of course you have
we know the Niners are going to be a threat in the postseason, and I'm not going to say Purdy's a bust because he's not first of all, I understand if you want to say bust in terms of he can't be the 49ers starting quarterback. But the guy is already, you can't be a bust as Mr. Irrelevant. I mean, he's already done more than a Mr. Irrelevant has done in NFL history. So hats off to him.
Yeah, hats off to him. TV just making noises here. JM, I think he's going to punch the TV. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the books respect Shanahan. Only dropping that 2 points, and we'll see what happens this week. I'm excited to watch that game. Even with your boy Sammy D playing, I love Sam Darnold. I think, and a little Brock Purdy hate before the year, I was like, I think they can win this division if Sammy D was playing. So we'll definitely see if I was right or not on that. You know what I was right on, JM, possibly?
What?
I apologized for being wrong on the Bills. And then I'm taking that apology away. And I actually called you a couple of days ago and said, I'm going to buy low on the Bills. I'm not anymore. I'm not
You're
buying
all over
on
the
Bills.
place. I mean, make your mind up here.
Listen, I even said this before the year started. They suffer injuries to the defense, specifically in the back end, every single year. They are losing so many guys, defensive star after defensive star. They can't handle it. I think that is at the forefront of their problems. They're just way too injury riddled on defense, and that's their problem, and that's why this team is not going to win the Super Bowl.
You're only talking about the defensive side of the ball. What do we constantly say about the Bills? They've had the same problem, it seems like, for 4 years now. They don't have a running game. When you take away Josh Allen going out there playing backyard football, running around, throwing the ball wherever he wants and making these crazy plays, when you take that away like the Patriots did against them on Sunday, all of a sudden it's like, oh, how are we going to score the ball? How are we going to move the ball here? Yeah. They don't have that plan B on offense, and that's why they're not going to win a Super Bowl as long as they don't have a running game or some sort of plan B on offense.
It was an ugly game in New England. They had a chance to come back. They do come back. They take the lead, and they let New England go right down the field. I think the main problem for them right now is just how they are playing defensively, and it's just because of the injuries that they've suffered here. Yeah. And, we didn't really talk about this when the Giants played the Bills. The Giants lost close, obviously. After the game, there was the handshake. Did you see this?
Oh, the very quick exchange.
Quick, cold handshake from Daboll and McDermott. And I had really never seen any of this, but there were, reports and these stories that Daboll and McDermott didn't get along. They didn't agree philosophically on how to run the offense, whatever. Right. Even if Daboll was not getting a head coaching job, he was out. He would have taken a lateral job elsewhere. Right. And apparently it was a press conference today. It was coordinator day for the Bills, and Ken Dorsey, their offensive coordinator, was talking. Sean's involved. Sean's they were just talking about different things. Right. Is McDermott becoming a problem here? Like, is he getting too involved?
And, he was the guy in the offseason where everybody was like, yo, sneaky little hot seat. But Sean McDermott, if things don't go right this year, he could potentially be a guy who gets fired. And I thought it was kind of crazy, but
it's not.
If this stuff keeps coming out, is it crazy?
If he becomes a problem here, if it turns out that he was getting his hands involved in way too much.
He's a defensive coach.
He is.
Him having a say in the offense here is surprising.
Right. If he's getting his hands dirty, a little too dirty here, like, we got a problem. You got to move off him. Yeah. You can't waste away any more of Josh Allen's prime. Who, by the way, again, when this guy's not turning the ball over, he's so fun to watch. Yeah. He's easily the second best quarterback in the league. Yep. It's just great when he's playing like the way he should be. Yep. So I think you got problems over there in Buffalo, and it's even the AFC is kind of not what we thought it was going to be. Right. It's getting better. It's becoming tighter. There's a lot of teams, may not be as top-heavy, may not be as elite as we thought, but there's definitely a lot of teams competing for a postseason.
It seems like the ladder of who's the best in the AFC, or after the Chiefs, seems to be changing every week.
I think this week it's the Ravens.
Yeah, it's the Jaguars looked great. Then it's the Ravens. The Browns are climbing their way up the ladder, playing with a backup quarterback, finding ways to win football games. So, the Dolphins are a team that, maybe moving down after this week, got exposed a little bit in Philadelphia. So it's a bit hectic in the AFC right now.
And, your team's causing some.
Come on, get to it. I'm itching.
He's itching. He's excited
for the MetLife Bowl.
He's excited. I'm excited. The point spread's crazy. We'll talk about that later. This is an interesting game because obviously the Jets coming off a bye. Jets coming off a huge win the week prior to the bye against the Eagles. The Giants played a great game. Great defensive game versus the Bills. Come back, play another good defensive game against the Commanders. Sort of save their season. Can they continue to save their season this week? A lot of storylines heading into this one, and it's a game that only happens every 4 years.
Yeah. Listen, if the Giants, the way the Giants win this game is a defensive battle. I think if this comes down to who's gonna, just win the game 20 27-24, I think the Jets have the advantage there. But if the Giants can hold the Jets offense to, under 300 total yards and give them really tough problems moving the ball, then that's how they win the game. The Jets defense is, no doubt going to give the Giants problems. I mean, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are active participants in practice now, off of concussion protocol. They're supposed to be playing this Sunday. So that's huge to get them back. And this defense has been, especially the pass rush in the past couple weeks, has been phenomenal. And that's where we know the Giants' weakness is protecting the quarterback. But they've done a good job. They did a good job last week, although they didn't have the greatest offensive game ever. And you really can't when you play an offensive style like they have. But they've done a good job of changing up the offense and getting the ball out of Tyrod Taylor's hands quicker and finding different ways to score. And using their big, shiny offseason acquisition, Darren Waller, they've been using him more recently.
Yeah, the offense has looked better the last couple of weeks. I think Tyrod does a better job of the basics. I think Tyrod Taylor is better when he's uncomfortable. He's better than that than Daniel Jones is being uncomfortable.
Can we I can't believe when you wrote this on the note sheet for this episode, I was like, there's no way that Tyrod Taylor or Daniel Jones is like a debate right now. Is that really a thing? Like, if I went on the Giants fans' Twitter right now, would there be open debates about who should they start?
Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
Okay, that's the case. Brian Daboll fired. Joe Shane fired. Fire everybody if it's really a freaking debate that Tyrod Taylor or your $40 million Daniel Jones, who should start?
I think the reasoning is that, like I just said, Tyrod has been better doing the basics. Tyrod Taylor has been doing a better job being uncomfortable. Now, if Andrew Thomas plays and they get the center back, and now guys can shift over back into their positions. Bredesen doesn't have to play center, and he can play guard, which is a pretty decent guard. And Pugh can move over to guard now and not play left tackle. By the way, round of applause.
Playing left tackle?
He played left tackle again, JM. I haven't seen a worse left tackle in my entire life.
Of course he's not a freaking left tackle.
But he did a good job in the second half against Buffalo. You should have seen him out there. You should have saw him against Buffalo at left tackle. He was pretty damn good. Outside of a couple of plays, Chase Young ate him up the other day. Chase Young had 2 sacks. You get to move Pugh back. If they get these guys back, Daniel Jones, listen, Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback, and Brian Daboll said that today. Like, if he's healthy, he's the starting quarterback. There's absolutely no doubt. Right. Fans, fans are crazy. Fans are crazy. They're fanatics. So, Twitter is an interesting place. In my mind, like, obviously, it's Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, and the reason why I have a little bit of confidence, and nothing's a guarantee, right, whether or not guys are going to play. Thomas practiced today. John Michael Schmidt's practiced today. We'll see if they come back.
Nice name.
Yeah, nice name. Same name as you, JMS. If these guys play, and Barkley's back there, and Barkley's going to play, Daniel Jones is a different quarterback when the tackle's playing and the running back's playing. He's a better player. We haven't seen these two guys play together all season long. Thomas got hurt in the first game on the first drive against Dallas. So Daniel Jones is a different player when these guys play. That's why it gives me some confidence. That's why I think if everybody's healthy and they're playing.
But the thing that I would not be confident about is, yeah, sure, if you get Andrew Thomas back, but the Jets supply pressure from every point on the defensive line. You're talking about both edges and Quinnen Williams coming through the middle. So, and listen, yeah, sure, you get Schmitz back. Schmitz was playing like Schmidt.
Wow.
Schmidt's playing like Schmidt throughout the season until he got hurt. He was not playing well. And then what game was that? Seattle. He hurt himself on like the first play of the game.
The tush push.
Yeah. Tush push.
He got hurt on the tush push.
Yeah. Great. By the way, stop doing it. Every team is trying to do it. You can't do it. Sometimes you're successful. Sure. The Eagles are the only team that can do it consistently.
Yes, because they got the quarterback that squats 600 pounds.
Exactly. And the best center in the league.
Right. They got they got the quarterback that squats 600 pounds. Listen, Schmitz wasn't. I don't know what you're seeing that Schmitz was playing absolutely god awful.
He was not playing good at all.
He wasn't terrible. Like he's better than what they had.
He wasn't awful, but he was below average.
He's definitely. Bredesen's a solid guard, terrible center. Cannot play center. Okay, so he's better than that. And you get to move guys over. They're going to tear up.
They're going to tear up this offensive line. I'm just letting you know right now. It's not going to be a pretty look on Sunday.
Well, it's funny because
I don't see the Giants scoring more than 10 points on offense, to be honest with you.
You mentioned before that, if this game is what this game would consider a shootout, that it would be the Jets. And it's like, I'm looking at this and I'm listening to Jet fans and Giant fans go at it. And I know the Giant offense isn't great. And they've had their issues.
Where's this going?
Like, we're sitting. Can we take ourselves out of the New York bubble for a second? Because I did this with Daniel Jones, even though it was unfair with the injuries that they had. I took myself out of the New York bubble, and I said to myself, let's look at it from an outsider's view. Let's say I'm a Rams fan, okay? And I live in LA, and I look over here at New York, and I look at the Giants, and I look at the way Daniel Jones is playing. I'm like, wow, that guy's crap. Let's take ourselves out of the New York bubble, JM. Zach Wilson sucks. He sucks.
I'm not saying Zach Wilson is great.
To have any sort of confidence that this team is going to be able to score on a Giant defense that's played well the past month now. They've played really well the last 2 games. They played really well against Seattle. They played decently well against the Dolphins somehow. Okay? To say that the Giant defense isn't going to come in here and do the same thing to the Jet offense, which has a bad offensive line and a worse quarterback, like, we're sitting here saying the Giants aren't going to score 10 points. Why can't I say the same thing about the Jets?
Because the Jets have a better defense than the Giants. The Jets have better weapons on offense. The Jets quarterback at least is playing at a level that he's just not turning the ball over, which, by the way, the Giants have turnover issues on offense. The Jets have maybe the best turnover defense in the game. That's all the reasons why. We are very good at getting turnovers. We are in the top 5 in turnover margin in the NFL right now. That's why I think the Jets are going to give the Giants some serious problems.
And it's a few games. It's certain games here and they've won those games where they are leading the turnover battle by a ton.
If the Jets can, in Robert Sala's words, embarrass Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes, what the hell are they going to do with Daniel Jones?
Would you do it against Dak Prescott or Mac Jones?
Oh, yeah, Mac Jones they scored 15 points against us. My God. Yeah, the one bad game we had was against Dak Prescott on the road in Dallas when they were coming off their 40-point destroying of your football team. Well, I'm sorry.
Well, you're on the road this time, and we're getting guys back.
Yeah.
Listen, I think the Giants defense, the way they've been playing the past few weeks, you have a ton of younger guys on this defense that are finally starting to learn Wink's system and play very well. Deonte Banks, outside of a few plays against Terry McLaurin, he's been very, very good. I mean, I have a couple of next-gen stats here about Deonte Banks and how well he's been playing.
Great. Yeah, I'm great that this is getting airtime.
Deonte Banks has been unbelievable. Some would say even better than Sauce in his
stop.
Rookie year, some numbers would say, but I'm not going to go that far.
Yeah, don't go that far.
But Deonte Banks seriously is doing a very good job this year. The Giants defense has been very good.
I'm sure he's having a great year after your team goes down 30 points and they just start running the ball every game. I'm sure he does a good job not giving up any yards. And Deonte Banks has given up 0 passing yards allowed in the fourth quarter in any game this year.
Oh, no, but Jay,
forget that the team runs it 90% of the time because they have their backups in already.
Advanced stats will tell you different things that you can't see in normal stats, and these are what these next-gen stats are telling us.
Me the next-gen
so there we go.
Michael.
I got to find it now.
Oh, okay. Great, thanks. Really, I'm glad you have this just prepared, ready to go.
I liked it. I didn't bookmark it.
All right, move on.
But either way, I'm excited to see this matchup. I'm excited to see this game. Next-gen stats, Deonte Banks has allowed a league-low 5.5 receptions over expected this season. See, this is why I don't even give a rat's ass about I don't even care. Banks, you read it. I really don't care. Please, it's football, okay?
Negative 5.5 receptions over expected. So, okay, got it. The third fewest of any rookie. Banks has allowed just 4.2 yards per target this season, trailing only Denzel Ward amongst quarterbacks, a minimum of 20 targets.
Beast.
Nice.
Beast. Cool. Bobby Okereke. Probably could have paid him double, and it still wouldn't be enough with how great he's been. So I'm excited to see this game. I think it'll be a close, low-scoring, ugly, ugly football game. And we'll see who comes out a winner. The Giants playing for their season. The Jets, the big win. It's a big game, but I don't think it's as big for the Jets as it is for the Giants just in terms of saving their season. Although, what is there really to save? Who the hell knows?
If the Jets lose this game, it's back to this team's not making the playoffs.
Well, that's just because of your fan base and overreaction by the media.
You lose it, Merle. You guys are awful. You can't tell me that the Giants aren't. You got a nice win against the freaking Commanders at home who suck.
That's not.
You guys, up until that point, were one of the worst teams in football. I had you guys ranked like 30th in the power rankings.
Well, the thing
bumped
is,
you up to 26 now. Woo!
The defense has, I think, changed a lot of people's view on this
team. But the offense
team.
is still awful.
JM, they haven't had their two best offensive players.
It doesn't matter. They went 210 minutes of football without scoring an offensive touchdown.
They had a backup quarterback.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if they had all their backups out there. You go 5 games without scoring a touchdown.
Wasn't
basically whatever it is. 210 minutes, 60 minutes, 3.5 games without scoring an offensive touchdown. Really bad. You said it to me on the phone last week when I called you after the Giants lost to the Dolphins. You said it's really 3 quarters of football. So now,
yes, it is.
3 quarters of football where they've played well on offense. So now you get a win against the Commanders with the worst offensive line of freaking all time at this point. Sam Howell's out there getting sacked 47 times in 7 games. It's just ridiculous, running for his life out there. And the Commanders suck. I mean, they got, they're 2-0 to start the year. We're thinking good things, but it turns out they're just frauds. They beat the freaking Denver Broncos, who suck, on the road. They beat them in a close game at the end, ended up giving 35-33, whatever the score was. So you get a nice win at home against a divisional opponent that you tend to play well against over the years in the Commanders.
We own the Commodes.
Nice, good win, but the Jets should win this football game. The Jets have bigger expectations. They have a better roster on paper than you. They've been playing better all season. They're just, overall, this is a game the Jets should be winning. And if they don't win, then this is a problem. That you guys are the easiest team on our schedule for a really long time, you and the Raiders. So I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be biased or disrespectful. This is the way it is. They need to win this game. If they don't win this game, we're going to, oh crap, we're back in, if they don't win this game, I'm guessing Zach Wilson's not going to have a good game. So we're back to, they should have signed Carson Wentz, or they should get on the phone, try to trade for somebody. We're at that point now. We're back there.
I love the confidence. I really do. I love it. I hope these guys come back for the Giants. I hope they have somewhat of a normal offensive line this week.
Good luck.
And whether it's Tyrod or Daniel Jones, we'll see. I don't know what it's going to look like, but either way, I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a fun game. Actually, I don't think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be an ugly game.
Well-rested defense. Giants score 7? 10 points?
I love it. Keep it coming. I love it.
Oh, I will.
I can't wait. We got the coaching advantage. All right. Just had to throw that one in there.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know if they have the coaching advantage. I really don't. All right. That's going to do it. Episode 113. We'll see who comes out in the end. Look out for the gambling show later in the weekend. Tighten the race up a little bit, so we'll...
1 star. Woo!
We'll get to that one. Anything you got to say?
Nope. I can't wait to come back next week, and we'll see the results.
Yeah. Go G-Men.